Efforts going on to privatize state-run business in Taipei. Government agencies in Taiwan plan to release some 3 billion shares they hold in companies like China Steel and Chinese Petroleum. Share offering will be worth 50 billion Taiwan dollars. That's about 2 billion US. The government has put off some plans to scale down sale of state-owned shares because stock prices have been badly depressed so far this year. In fact, the Taipei Stock Exchange Index is bumping along at a 4-year low despite government efforts to boost investor confidence. But for international investors, there are other ways to cash in on Taiwan's booming economy. Joining me now is Danny Chen. He is president of International Investment Trust, and that's the investment advisor to the Republic of China Taiwan Fund. Danny, welcome to Business to Asia.
Thank you.
It seems so illogical. Here's this great booming economy, and the stock market is acting like it's in a developing nation. What's going on?
Okay, I think you have to look back to the past 5 years. The Taiwan stock market ran up from about 1,000 points level to 12,500 points, and now it's coming back. Now, if you look at the last 5 years, the market actually has gone from 1,000 points to currently 3,600 points, which does show that reflects the economic growth.
Are you saying, did the market outrun the economy?
I think so. There was a hysteria during 1989 and 1990, and the market just ran up to all sorts of prices.
Well, now, where do we go from here?
I think from now on you can see the Taiwan market a bit more stabilized because people are getting a lot more mature and they tend to focus a bit more on fundamentals. Whereas before, most of the stocks were affected by manipulators.
Mm-hmm. The government announcing plans for something like $280 billion worth of infrastructure development. We know how projects like that go. It'll be much more than that by the time it's done. Sure. Surely the market must be looking forward to this with great enthusiasm.
Well, I think so. That will boost the domestic economic growth. There's no doubt about that. But on the other hand, the spending will come from issuing of bonds, and that will take some money away from the stock market. So on the one hand, it boosts the economy, but on the other hand, it reduces the amount of money going into the stock market because the bond issues.
Will there's some of those bonds be sold overseas?
Currently, all the bonds are sold locally, but I would imagine at some stage, some of these bonds will be sold offshore.
Why has the government's efforts to boost the stock market been so ineffectual?
I think it has to do with the way that investors behave in Taiwan. And as I mentioned, we had this big run-up. And what happens is that most investors have basically lost their shares, and they're very scared. And they're also not too sure how long the government is going to support the market.
When the average investor makes an investment decision in Taiwan, when they make it in most countries, it's usually based on investment fundamentals, company fundamentals. How much in Taiwan is based on political considerations as well, wondering what will happen with mainland China?
I think in the past, in Taiwan, most of the investment decisions are based on rumors and gossips and so on. And I think, like most of the Asian countries, investors don't follow very much the fundamentals. Now, certainly political factors are a very big consideration because that affects sentiment. And you look at what happened to Hong Kong now. The investors getting very scared. I think just shows that the investors are not that mature.
If you were to poll investors in Taiwan, what do you think they would say about what kind of system they will live under 20 years from now? What the relationship with China would be?
It's hard to say. I think there are two camps of people in Taiwan. And one would say that, well, eventually China and Taiwan will come together. Another one will be said that they're quite happy to keep it separated. So it seems to me that right now there's an economic independence, whereas from the political point of view, it's probably better for them to be together.
Yeah, right now we're seeing so much of the economies of the two countries being intertwined. China actually looks upon Taiwan as a major source of investment right now.
That's right.
And the government in Taipei opens up more and more and more, allowing, getting rid of some of these ridiculous rules of having to deal through third countries and so forth.
Right.
What way is the government trying to move here?
I think eventually there'll be direct contacts with China. And I think, well, in the past there's 3 no policies, and there's no contacts and so on, you know that. And it seems to me now there are 3 maybes.
From
And
three
I
no's
think,
to three maybes?
That's right, and I think very quickly it will become 3 yeses.
Right now, international investors get into Type A market through funds such as the one you advise. Individuals will soon be allowed, as I understand, to invest directly in the market.
I think that will take a bit of time. Now, there were 3 steps to bring foreign investments into Taiwan. First one is indirectly through the funds that we are advising. And secondly, for the approved foreign institution to invest in Taiwan, which is currently taking place. And that will probably stay like this for another 3 or 4 years. Now, as for individuals buying stocks directly in Taiwan, I think it will take a long time to come.
Well, why is that? The market officials apparently want to see this happen. And Taiwan certainly is an open enough economy, allowing overseas investment. Why would they not allow stock purchases?
I think what happens is that the officials are very concerned about the volatility of the market, and they are not convinced that the Taiwan market is mature. So that's why they're doing things in stages. And they bring in the institutions, and hopefully the institutions, using fundamental valuation techniques, will improve the stock market. And I think one of the main concerns the Taiwanese government has is that if foreign individual investors get into the Taiwan market and got burned, and they will never come back again.
All right, Dan, thank you very much for joining us on Business Asia. Danny Chen, president of the International Investment Trust. And Business Asia will be right back after this break.